It's always a pleasure when I get to sit down with you. I'm excited to be able to have some time to connect and chat about the industry. And one of the things that I just wanted to be able to share with our community is a couple of years ago, you partnered with Corcoran in New York, and I'm very familiar with Corcoran. I leased my first place in New York with Corcoran and bought my first New York place with Corcoran. And I love the brand. And so when I saw that you were bringing the brand, to us here in, Toronto and Ontario, I was just I was super stoked. What was the thinking behind doing that?
It's a great question. And, 20 years in the biz, 22 years, about 5 years ago, the team, we would whiteboard every year. We spend 2 days a day planning the next year. And we all sat in a room and said, what does 5-10 years look like? And our executive team, and these are all agents and members, support operations, have been with us for 10, 15, 18 years. And without them, there'd be no brand and no company. And we said we're all craving something bigger, but what is the plan? Is there a brand that we need to work with, or is Regal Realty going to expand across the country? Mm-hmm. And it wasn't Regal. I wasn't excited to expand Regal as much as people would be like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, Regal's great run, is exciting, but this industry needs the right brand with our backing, our expertise, our infrastructure, our tech side of things, our marketing side of things. And then we shopped 5 years, spent a lot of time, 5 different brands, 5 years, came close with a few, and then no, there's nothing there. And then someone called me and said, you need to meet Corcoran, Pam. Corcoran needs you, you need Corcoran. I said, interesting. When I flew to New York, I had a ha-ha moment because everything was in line. Not only were they all about humble, hungry, smart, that's our kind of DNA. They had a massive new home development experience, and they dominated Manhattan for over 20 years. And they were number one in the resale market for 6+ years, on and off for 20 years, and dominated both. And I, for the first time, found a brokerage, international, that dominated resale and new homes. And not too often do you find a brokerage, and Regal Realty did both new dev and resale. And we understand there's two different departments and operations and mindsets and marketing, and we needed a brand that could help accelerate that and just show it off. And the industry's been craving it. And the day we met, it was meetings like that it just reassured that yes, everyone that I talked to, finally Corcoran's coming. And it was like, wow. So when a lot of people knew Corcoran. And we were kind of like, well, is this, are people going to be like, what is Corcoran? Who is Corcoran? Everyone knows Barbara Corcoran. But do they really know the story about Corcoran? And a lot of people are aware of it, like yourself. So when I did spend 6-7 months with the entire team, due diligence, we said right away, this is the brand that needs to come to Yorkville, Toronto, Muskoka. And as we expand across Ontario, I'm excited to share with our plan. It absolutely made total sense. And, Regal's still involved. Regal, I guess, is
well, you
behind
are
it.
Regal, Cliff Regal. So it's interesting. What does it feel like for you? So 2 years in, you started in 2023 with Corcoran, so this is your 2-year anniversary.
Yeah.
We're sitting in Bloor Yorkville, and your incredible offices here. How does that feel for you?
Honestly, I guess there's no feeling because all we're doing is working, and it's just so natural. If there's a feeling, I guess, there's no change. I feel like it's been around forever. Everyone that has been part of it joined and looking to join, they just feel right at home. And I just think what is really exciting is that, people have been craving this. People come to us. People have joined us, affiliates and partners like yourself. They're like, they feel the excitement, the energy, the brand, and the story, and the right timing as we're going through this market. I just think it feels so natural.
One of the things that I found that really sets you guys apart is you have access to this incredible network, not just locally here in Ontario, but the network of Corcoran in the US. And we do recognize that there's this opportunity, especially when you're looking at some of the prestige properties that you work on. You need to tap into that network. And so I feel like that's unique to a lot of other brokerages that are out there.
Yeah, there was no question that part of the transition in my move was that connection. Manhattan, New York, but really West Palm, Florida, Bahamas, Cayman Islands, Turks, British Virgin Islands, St. Barts. So all of our affiliates, they had a standing O when we announced we're coming to Canada. They've been waiting for that moment.
Yeah.
And our referral network in the first year and a half, we're probably over 200 million of real estate referrals within our network in a year and a half, 2 years, which is so powerful. They've been waiting for this moment. Florida's been a big connection, and people love that, that connection from Toronto and Ontario to Florida. But it's just the beginning, and I think it was such a natural fit and such an exciting moment that brand just lined up with the consumers at the right time and agents. So it's been great.
Well, I spoke to one of your agents, and she had worked somewhere else previously, and she said that when she came to Corcoran, her business increased actually by, I think it was almost 30%. And she said it's the brand. There's a halo effect to the brand that creates trust and confidence, and her business increased because of it.
Yeah, what was interesting, we've had probably 2-3 successful stories in the last year that their business grew 30%.
Yeah.
And we've never really doubled down on joining us, the brand's gonna grow you. We just felt naturally like, hey, there's something here we can help you. They're training, all that. I have to also admit that I didn't realize the power of the brand. And now that we have spent 2 years, the agents that have joined us, their network and how they stood apart is bang on. I mean, they've increased their business 30%, and they have said to me, this brand made me stand out, and they've had successful transactions because of the confidence of the brand. And I'm like, wow, I guess I was in love with the brand. I knew there was a play for it, but I didn't realize how powerful the brand was. And it is exactly that. I mean, Corcoran's been very sensitive and spent 4 years vetting anyone that was contacting them from Toronto and Ontario, and it wasn't a yes. It was I learned after that they said no more often than they said yes, and it was just the right place, right time. So they're very selective as well, who's gonna run with their brand. So, and we're the same with agents and our affiliates and our partners. So I think the brand overall is that's their mindset.
How are you feeling about the market right now?
Yeah, the famous question, the market. How am I feeling? I think we all know it's been the most in Ontario, Canada. I think it's been the most difficult in 20 plus years. I think it's going to be the best opportunities.
Which is interesting because you started 20 plus years ago. So did you actually start in a down market?
I didn't start in a down market, but I started in a market that I met a client 8 to 10 times before I transacted over 6 to 8 months.
Interesting.
It's normal. You're going to meet a client. We would spend 6, 8 meetings, 6 months to transact. That was normal.
Yeah.
And then it became 4 months, 3 months, 2 months, 1 week, 1 day, and it wasn't healthy. We were order takers at a certain time, and we all wrote it, and it was great. Let's call a spade, but it wasn't customer service the way it should be. And I was built on meeting customers, my retail days, clothing, and making sure that the tailor, the stitching, the cuff. So if you're gonna take that approach, the market just drove through that, and we didn't have that opportunity. The exciting part is we're back to customer service, we're back to education, we're back to product knowledge, we're back to showing multiple sites, multiple properties to make sure the right one fits them. People are not price consumed, they're time consumed, so they want the right product at the right time, and then they'll make their decision. So for me, we're kind of back to when I did start, and I keep smiling because it's very difficult going through these tough times, but it's a massive opportunity. We're very happy to be in these times. And it's perfect timing for us to scale Corcoran and grow across Ontario when the market's in this position.
I totally agree with that. I think the opportunity lies in the dip. You've had your core team for 10 plus years, which is a rarity, I would say, in this industry. Tell me what you look for in people as you continue to build and grow.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, it's all about people. And 3 things: humble, hungry, smart. If you're all 3, we have a position and we have a role. As long as you have the same patience, time frame, and you like what you're getting into, if it's marketing, operations, sales, I think everyone in the organization, we work based on what do you love doing, and let's grow around that. And I think it's not a normal model maybe, and it's like, if you love working with builders, you love marketing, you love social media, you love operations, let's double down. So we've just been working with people's strengths. And I'm not worried about weaknesses. I have enough weaknesses, and I know to delegate that, and I know how to not spend time there. My strength is networking and negotiating and marketing, and I want to stay in that space. So I love every day in my office and what I do. So everyone in the organization, I just want them to love every day. And if they don't, is there an org chart that we can look and, do you want to try a different role? So we have a lot of fun with the organization chart, and anyone can dabble anywhere in the organization chart and try a different role and come back. So we have a lot of fun with that. So we just look for people that want to, spend time enjoying what they do and try things, and then just double down on what they love to do.
I do love that. We try and do that at NKPR as well. It's interesting because I just made a hire, and he just said to me the other day, he's like, I love all my accounts. I'm like, it's not an accident. We did ask you what you love, not necessarily in your work life, but what do you like to do in your personal life, so that you can marry accounts based on what they actually enjoy. And so I totally agree with you. I think when people love what they're doing, they're going to A, excel at it, but B, the customer service will be there because they genuinely care. And so that's super important.
Can't fake that. And I think that's been our kind of success. I mean, people have been with us 10, 15, 18 years, 19.
Let's talk about Yorkville, because you're in the heart of Yorkville. What are you seeing right now in the market in this particular neighborhood?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. We were last week in the heart of New York and on Fifth Ave, and this is, Yorkville, and this market is not feeling the luxury market is still very strong. You look at Bloor Street, you see all the shops, they're very healthy, all the brands. People want to be part of successful stories and successful brands and just great quality, product. So when you walk around Yorkville, our brand needed to be in center ice, and we set shop here for a reason. And I think what we're seeing here is still this vibe and this healthy market. And even though the industry and things have, there's a big change, I think you see a lot of potential, and I think you see a lot of people still very successful stories in these tough times.
Well, end user product is still selling, because at the end of the day, the economy doesn't affect the end user in the same way. And so we work on the 138 project, which is right across the street from you, which is one of the most, it is the most luxurious building in the country, starting at $10 million, going up to $85 million. Schollard, one of our clients at Lantera, they're starting to move people in, which is really exciting, which is the architect on that is Foster's. And so it's interesting to see, and they're still getting calls to sell units, because at the end of the day, it's the end user, and the end user still potentially needs to buy and move.
Yeah, I think we all know the investor market has kind of cooled off, but that end user market is craving for lifestyle. 138th Avenue is probably by far one of the nicest projects in this country and North America. I agree. We spent a lot of time in New York, and we're not seeing product like 138.
Not even close.
Not even close.
12-foot curved glass coming from Italy.
No.
It just doesn't really exist.
We're excited. We have a couple clients looking at it, but yeah, we were at Central Tower, Central Park Tower, tallest residential tower in the world in New York, and Steinway, some amazing product, Hudson Yards, but there's nothing like 138th Avenue. It's funny you brought it up, right across the street. So that's the exciting part about Ontario still, in Canada and Toronto, is that there's still room for end user. There's still a very good product for a really good price. I understand investors are price consumed, and that's fine, but the end user, they're still exiting their product. They've had a 20, 30, 40% appreciation over 10 or 15 years. So you sell high, you buy high. You sell low, you buy low. Everything equals out. It's not the end of the world for end user. Product is about the time. It's timing more than price. So there's a very, very healthy market. The end user, they're going to take advantage of this opportunity that they're not lining up to bid. And I think that's so healthy that they have time to make a decision to transact. And I think projects like 138 and others, they're offering that. And we have that now in the market. And it's so exciting to see. People want to sell maybe their product, their single detached home, and move into a full lifestyle. I would call it home again. And
it's just a home in the sky.
Home in the sky.
Every amenity imaginable.
That's special.
Including a walk-in vault, but that. Yeah,
size of the office, the vaults.
Absolutely.
No, it's great. I think that's what's exciting about the market and the industry still. People are still going to buy their nice Gucci purse. They're still going to spend money on their clothing. They're going to still buy the Porsche, car, and they want to be in a great they're going to want to feel good driving their cars, feeling good. You dress well, you feel good. So I think people are still going to be, spending money, but they're not going to run and do multiple transactions and buy, multiple cars. So I just think that real estate's the same. They're not buying multiple maybe investments, but they're buying that one property that they want to spend 3-4 months here in Toronto, and they want to spend 3-4 months in Muskoka and out in Florida. So that consumer is still very,
it's often the second property. Like I would say this is their home base, but they do have
Agreed.
multiple properties, especially with that particular product for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So what's the future for Corcoran?
Yeah, it's a great question. We're super excited. We spent 2 years really building that foundation after 22 years of business operations, and the last 2 years of the brand helped us really understand where we're heading more than ever. It's all about the right agents and staff for sure. And based on that, we're now in real good conversations with other brokerages. So we feel we bring a really good infrastructure. I mean, the tech support, the marketing backend that we invested, I think that's what, we can help a lot of agents, brokerages. So our conversations are the right cities across Ontario. We're looking at places like Oakville and Markham and Barrie, Ottawa. So then there's in between, Vaughan and Pickering, Mississauga. There's lots of locations, but we'll always go back to the right people and the right brokerage. So if there is an opportunity, and we're in some conversations right now with a few brokerages that just are not, they've been at it. They're exhausted. We've had, a great, move with Hamilton, for example, and we're really excited about Martinez running Hamilton. These are the relationships we're looking for in the partnership. So we're looking at partnerships, we're looking at supporting, we're looking at someone taking the lead in that province, in that city, and we have lots of room. And the main goal is we're going to grow rapidly, but quality. For example, over 70 agents in a year and a half, 2 years. I think that's a perfect example of we're not just hiring every agent. We want them to go through the interview process, and we as well. We want them to know our plan. We want them to know that there's a place if they want that plan together. And we'll support that agent, but we also are not agent count, we're not head count. It's going to be a quality growth, and we're doing the same thing with brokerage and partnerships in the right cities. We're looking for the same mindset.
I love to hear that because during the peak of real estate, everyone got the real estate license. And so it's great to hear that you're really looking at what are the values of Corcoran and Rego, what you've built, and what are you looking for to make sure that you're instilling that back to your customers. And so, and you start with customer service first and what matters to them and what they care about. And I love that that's how you're building the next stage of your business.
Yeah, and what's amazing is the conversations we're having. There's so many amazing agents, brokerages out there that just want change. They want the support. They don't want the ops. They don't want marketing. They don't want to deal with the new AI chat. We're all in on that. So we bring that back end support that they just want to transact. Most agents and brokerages originally got in the business to transact and work with their customers. They got caught into this whole operation side of it. A lot of them don't love it. So we have the infrastructure. We bring that back end. So our agents just concentrate with consumers, and they do what they do best, is transact, work with the clients, and we just want to support that. So I think it's a perfect setup, and it's been very successful, and we're so excited where we're heading.